Our dad passed away in 1996 from leukemia at the age of 42. And more than just this guitar, he left us with a deep love and affection for this great music that he taught us. And when we're able to stand on this stage and sing these songs, it's as if he comes back here and he's with us again. And his love of the Beatles music is coming through us. And we hope you see that because we do this show for that guy right there. Yeah. Mark's request is In My Life. Says the song goes out to my wife. We'll be married 11 years in April. Congratulations. We have 2 beautiful, intelligent, and talented daughters. I married late after traveling the world for 25 years. Lots of places, friends, and memories. But in my life, I love you, Victoria, more. Come on, play it. Of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. These memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. Say to change the constitution, well, you know, we all want to change your heads. Hey, I'm like, you tell me it's the institution, well, you know, you better read on mine instead. Come on, Ryan, one more time. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And welcome. It is cocktail hour, and look at you all prepared. My name is Joe Farrell. I'm the director of the Grand Oshkosh. Thanks for joining us tonight. I have with me 2 guests who are great friends now. My Irish brother and my Canadian muse.
Wonderful. Oh, the nod.
Together, they are the brains, the talent, and yeah, I'm gonna let the audience sort of know who's what behind Rayvon, the company, and it's several tributes of which you just saw a taste of yesterday and today. My favorite of the bunch, Billy McGuigan, Kate Whitecotton. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Joe.
You are joining us from where?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. And I want to talk a little bit first before we even get into like history and other fun things. I've said this to you personally, and now I'm going to say it in front of people in a recorded show. I'm amazed by what you do. That how we all have ways of adjusting to the whole COVID thing. It hit and it was brutal and it was nuts, right? And yet, when we had a chance to breathe for a little bit, for a while, you and your brothers looked a little White Album.
Wow.
But
yeah, I heard that today. This is good.
I brought back the '70s whip myself. So but you put it together. There's a point. For me at my end of things, it's okay. We're going to do shows for 200 people. We're going to bring it out. We're going to social distance. We're going to do all of those things. But for you as an act, all of the gigs dried up, and then all of a sudden, when I heard you were going to do the drive-in concerts, my reaction, knowing you, was, of course. But talk just a little bit about about the drive-in and how you went from, okay, we're just going to take this break and find ourselves to, no, we got to get back out there and here's how we're going to do it.
the behind the scenes are, I mean, and you know how long it took for Kate to be able to for us to even be able to come and work in your theater, the work that it takes, the years that it takes for people that run theaters to be able to trust you enough to book you and to watch all of those dates just go away and see Kate every day and go, well, sorry guys, this got canceled. Tahiti got canceled. We're not doing this. We're not playing with the symphony here. And it was just devastating. So we took the month. We took a knee.
I still haven't accepted it.
Yeah, she hasn't. But we knew that we had to move on in some way. And we're lucky in Omaha to have the Omaha Community Playhouse, which is where I got my start. And we had shows scheduled there, and we obviously weren't going inside. So independent of each other, we both came up with this drive-in idea. Like, we have a parking lot. We have a sound system. We can get an antenna so people can listen to it in their cars. And I can make it big enough that it'll fill a parking lot. And that's what we did with our fingers crossed, fingers and toes and arms and everything were crossed because we had to be flexible. That was our thing. It's like, if opening night doesn't happen, because at that time in Omaha, riots were happening as we're applying for a permit to perform in the parking lot of the Omaha Playhouse, which is 4 blocks away from where the riots in Omaha were happening. We just said, we're going to be flexible. We know what we can do, and we're going to do it. And so there we are.
So then, and I remember reading the posts, your first standing and honking ovation.
Yeah. I mean, it was different. I mean, what I've learned in 20 plus years as a performer, my thing, hello, Peter Frampton. This is our my thing as a performer is being able to connect with an audience. I mean, that's why our shows are a little more than just a tribute show, because I'm genuinely trying to connect with people, and taking that away from me is like saying, okay, go out there on stage and, don't have a microphone or don't have lights, which we didn't have any of that. Like, I had a microphone and we adapted. I mean, I didn't do bits. I always do bits, and it's like, you know what? I'm just a musician now. And here we are.
Did you do a specific, like, new show, different set list, or was it one of your 4 or 5 shows?
It started out as Ray Vaughan,
yeah,
which is our Buddy Holly show, and then quickly morphed into just a bunch of 50s music, sometimes 60s, whatever.
It just became what the audience wanted. I mean, it was, first of all, the crowd was way younger, which was kind of awesome, and then I have a song on my new album that was a Buddy Holly kind of song. So we'd play that, you'd get a reaction and be like, okay, well, here's other songs that we do. And you just see it would work. And so we'd keep pivoting, like, oh, this is kind of how the show is. It's not really a Buddy Holly, Ray Vaughan show. But what's good is, I mean, in January, I had all these dates as Buddy Holly, kind of looking with the longer hair and the shaggier face. And we were moving away from that anyway. So it just made sense. Yeah. I have a lot of smart people around me. Hi, Amber, how are you? And that helps. I mean, the Playhouse, we work really well together. Kate is associated with them, and they made it easy. So
look at this.
Oh,
she found us. Excellent. And I'm glad the comments came in, because that reminded me that to put up the little reminder that this is an interactive show. And if you have any questions for Billy or Kate or me, then by all means, put them into the comments. And if you just want to say hello, do that, and I'll get it up in front of the two of them, and we'll enjoy that along the way.
I'm sorry, just if I can say about Kate. Kate took over booking for Ray Vaughan Productions. She started as my guitar tech, the first tour that we had in 2007, 2008. But we started touring when the economy crashed. That was our first major tour. Mm-hmm. So we had to go, okay, well, I mean, we are scrappy. And so we already knew how to not depend on everybody else. And that's why we've been able to really pivot, because we're set up, give us a parking lot and give us eyeballs and ears, and we're ready to roll. And I think that's probably the attitude it takes to survive in this environment.
Yeah. I also think too that for what it's worth, Kate, the reason I booked you into 3 venues, it has a lot to do with the lack of agent demeanor that you have. You just it's always refreshing to just kind of have conversations. And
I was just telling Billy about the first time we went out we met. We went out for wine. I was like, I had no idea that this is what it would become. It's so
I know, right? I had a friend who's an independent musician who's no longer with us, and he was a classical guitarist. And when I first met him, I was still in Manitowoc in my prior theater, and I said, I love classical guitar, but there's no way I'm going to sell it, to in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. He said, well, So we talked about the Dodgers, and he was a Dodger fan, and I was a Mets fan, and so we had to talk about that. And he's like, we're just going to visit, and someday you're going to walk up to the booth and you're going to say, it's time, And it took years, but eventually, I did. I walked up to the booth and said, it's time. So it's so much easier. And now, and I don't know if it's true on your end, but I know it's true on my end. As I'm scrambling through trying to find gigs and move dates and do some other stuff, and I'm hearing horror stories from artists and from venues alike about all that, I am so grateful that right now, nearly everything I'm working on or had to move was with an agent with whom I had that relationship.
That's what makes all the difference, right?
It does. I had one agent come to me before I even made the decision to cancel, to move their show, to say, don't worry about like the force of nature, force majeure clause. As far as I'm concerned, this is one. Just, let's find a date that works. I'm like, you're going to remember that down the road. And that's where as I remembered it down the road.
Yeah. All of our shows that we had to move, everyone has been great. Yeah. But you come at it from a point where you understand that we're all going through the same thing. Like the theater can't eat a deposit, and it's not right for us to keep one. So it's actually been really nice.
Luckily, our karma was good. We have really good karma, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, and it's nice to talk to people on like a real level instead of a business level.
Yeah. Well, speaking of reopening, I'm gonna take a little break here. We're because I want to talk about and give a little quick shout out to our reopen. We will be reopening with social distance in force, and it looks something like this. When you look at the grand, now the seats won't actually be gone, but those are the seats that will be sold. And as you can see, they're groups of 2s, 3s, and 4s. They're 6 feet apart. Our 550 seat theaters now 220 seats. But by gosh, we're going to do it. And as long as we can do it safely, we're planning to reopen on September the 12th. Awesome. And we're going to feature a group called B Twins. They're another Midwest great group. And I'm going to give a little taste there, and we'll be back with Billy and Kate right after this. Well, as you know, Billy is the front man of a lively group. The hardest part with these guys is going to be to keep them socially distanced from their audience.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but it's going to be a good opening. We'll have a good, and it answers the trivia question: when is 200 seats a good house? And it's when that's all you can sell. So
there are a lot of acts going, hey, we can sell it 50%. Yeah.
That's right. So my little commercial is, of course, that if folks are interested, those tickets are on sale, and you can go to thegrandoshkosh.org for that information. And there it is right there. So Billy McGuigan, Kate White-Cotton are with us. You notice, Billy, that I do get, by the way, and we talk about clauses of jelly beans and whatevers in artists' contracts. My favorite clause to date is the McGuigan clause.
Thank you. was Kate's idea.
What? Give me some of the notable mispronunciations that have stuck with you.
Oh, McGuigan.
McGuigan is one of my favorites. We were in the South somewhere. It was in North Carolina. And I don't remember how the guy murdered my name. He's like, hey, y'all, we got the McGuigans in here. And they're great. And then he butchered the name of the show. He called it Yesterday and Today, the Interactive Beatles Program. Yeah, and then he said 3 different versions of my name. And you got to keep in mind, at that point, I was spending 5 minutes trying to tell him it's McGuigan. Just put a W and an I, and he's like, oh, I got you. Don't worry about him. What's the name of the show again? It's like, it's all right. I'm bad with names as well. So
yep. So to follow along, folks, it is written into their contract. The pronunciation is there under the McGuigan clause. And I'm sure that no one has ever mispronounced it since.
Oh, it happens. Still happens.
We won't play.
Yeah, we will not. We won't go on stage.
We won't go on.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk for just a second about, for folks who are not familiar, and you do perform, it's a family affair. You perform with your brothers.
That's right.
Do they perform in all of your shows? We're going to talk about that in a second too.
They do. They're a part of everything that I do. Yeah.
So you are the oldest?
I am the oldest. Yes, I am. We're all 3 years apart, and I'm the oldest. At 45, and Ryan's 42, and Matthew's 39. I did math.
It's getting there. It's getting there. So I don't want to go too deep. I want people to want to hear your story.
Yeah.
When that time comes that they get to hear your story within the show again. But the short version is, you didn't grow up wanting to be a Beatles tribute artist, I assume.
No, I mean, we didn't know. I mean, I thought I was always going to be an actor. So I wanted to be Michael J. Fox, and thought I would be like an actor in a movie who could play guitar. And my brothers wanted to be in boy bands real bad. So there was always this push and pull, are we going to do the boy band route? But we always had the Beatles. And so our dad would, guys, just stop arguing about it and do the stuff that you know. And he'd pull the guitar out and we'd sing Beatles stuff. So it just kind of came about that, when it push came to shove and people were like, hey, do you have another show? And after we started doing the Buddy Holly, and I knew we had this Beatles show that was unlike anything else because my brothers would be a part of it. And the way that we feel about the music, somebody asked me today, it's like, why do you like it so much? What is it? It almost feels like it was a part of our family. And I'm sure that we know there are a lot of people that feel that way about their music. So that's why it really hits home with us, because it's very personal, that music.
Well, I would assume too that because it's personal like that, it's one of the reasons that your show always seems fresh. Not just because it's shifted and whatever, but again, let's backtrack just a little bit. So the whole thing starts with Rave On,
right?
And obviously your company. So how does that? Where does that take you? And how long was it your only show?
Well, I was a fledgling actor for a really long time. I graduated from high school in 1993. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I was doing improv, trying to be a comic, wasn't working, did community theater, failed at that, joined a band, nobody was coming. But I did a show at the Omaha Playhouse in the 90s, and they knew that I could sing and play guitar and act. So I had that combo. And they were doing the Buddy Holly story, and all the normal people that would come and audition, they couldn't do that. And they said, hey, can you do that? And I said, oh, yeah. I had just seen the show in London. I was familiar with it, knew Buddy Holly through the Beatles, and I tore it up, luckily. And when that show closed, there was a waiting list of 1,500 people at the Omaha Playhouse. And I was like, why are we closing? And that's just like the hustler in me. Like, oh, those are 1,500 people that we can take tickets from. So I had a connection at the Omaha Funny Bone. And we did it on off nights there. And I wrote this show called Rave On, which was just like an outline of songs. And I made up stories. And comics would come in, like Emo Phillips would come in and go, I have a joke you can put in your show. Larry the Cable Guy would give me jokes. And the show became funny. And I just never stopped. And I would, anytime somebody would say, hey, can you do the Buddy Holly story? I would say, yeah, if you do my show after it. And then that was the snowball.
That's cool. And then, so the brothers are with you even at that point?
No, they were not with me then. So I had a band of mostly people that were in the Buddy Holly show with me. in the Buddy Holly story, which a lot of people have gone on to do that. I'm not unique in that way. It's just ours was really cool. I mean, we had a band, we had a full horn section, and we played with some of Buddy Holly's contemporaries, which was really cool for us. And my brother, like Matthew, would be a guitar tech for me, and Ryan didn't want anything to do with it. And then, but people started getting interested in another show. Like, what else can you offer? But I had to do the Beatles show, and I told them, I was like, this isn't my show. This is our show. And it took them 10 years probably to get there, with maybe our 15th year or something doing it. But they're with it now.
Yeah, they seem to be with it. Hey, look at this. We got some Canada.
Yeah, that's Jackie.
That's great. Which is a great segue for me. So Kate, at what point do you enter the picture coming and from Canada to Omaha?
Well, I took a little detour in Connecticut first.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for a theater in Connecticut. Billy was hired to play Buddy in our production of the Buddy Holly story. And we got to be really great friends. And it was right when he was starting Yesterday and Today. And he said, hey, if you move to Omaha, you can be my assistant and my guitar tech. And my contract was up at the theater. I didn't like my job. That's why I won't mention the theater. And so I moved to Omaha and got the job, had a great time, and then it just kept going from there. I had a teacher in college that said, once you find what you love to do in this business, you have to make sure that the people in charge know that they can't do the job without you. And that's what I made my whole mission in Omaha to be. So when I went back, Billy was like, what do I even do? And it worked.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we had a lot of help along the way, undoubtedly. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. We've had a ton of help. I mean, even from Waterbury, like we had people that would just fall in love with what we do. And a lot of times, Joe, I still don't understand why. And I think, like even with the Ray Bon show where I was dressing like Buddy Holly, I felt a little weird about that because I still wasn't able to like truthfully connect with the audience. But with the Beatles show, I mean, we were connecting with people on levels that I don't think they were used to as performers. We weren't used to it. So like the bonds that we made with our fans then, we still have them. And it just, somebody would say, hey, I know this person. Do you know them? And the best thing that ever happened to me, part of our story, one of Kate's first big jobs, I was in South Bend, Indiana, and hired to work in Fort Myers, Florida. And I said, all right, your first job will be flying to South Bend. We'll load up my Tahoe. You drive it, and you meet me in Florida. I'll fly down. Sounds like a great thing. I had 4 months worth of stuff in that vehicle. She gets to Atlanta and says, where should I park? And I said, find a hotel. We're pretty early on in my career. And I said,
on the road for me.
Tell the person at the front desk that you've got valuable stuff in your car and you want to hide it, and they could keep an eye on it. And all of my stuff got stolen, Joe. Everything, like $25,000 worth of my life, just like everything I'd worked to in that point. Dejected, we go back home to Omaha, and the Omaha Playhouse says, can we do a benefit for you to help? And I said, if we can do my Beatles show, I would love that. And Bo Bisson, who was starting his own booking company, was starting his first day at the Omaha Playhouse the day that we were rehearsing. He saw that, said, who are they? And that's how we got into this side of the business that we didn't even know existed for years of our lives up until that point. So
that's tremendous.
I mean, the help that we've had, I mean, it's just, we don't forget. And Bo was also the person that told Kate, you should be a booking agent. You're developing these relationships. And we're like, we don't know how to do any of this, but that's how we roll. I mean, that's how we get by. We don't know how to do any of it. We make it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're on the Beatles show for a little bit. And so Yesterday and Today, for me, as maybe it's the actor in me or the Italian in me or whatever, but the soul, the heart and soul of the program is what really sells for me. Yeah. I mean, also, you can play the stuff, which is, it's always about the music. But the All Request show, and see if I can get this right, because now when I talk about the show, I use it the way you described it to me, and I don't remember which one. It was the Brains of the Beauty. But that the requests form the set list and the comments form the narrative of the show on any given night. So people are submitting to you not only what they want you to sing, but why they want you to sing it.
Right.
And then all this is collected right before the show, and off you go, and no one knows.
Including the band, including all the
leave the lobby, and how they end up becoming a set list. And is that like a madhouse at that point of what's going to happen? No matter what, you're gonna feel that, right?
If I told you that's how the show works, there's no way you bought it, right?
Right.
You thought it's like a magic trick, like they have to. It really came out of, we didn't know how we were going to do it. And I just said, find a way to get me these cards, Kate. Put the cards in my hand and we'll go from there. And we started doing shows. I mean, and we workshopped it. I feel like this show workshopped for 10 years, Joe, before people, I mean, we'd been doing it probably for 10 years before you booked us, right? I mean, and we got really good at it like the last 5 years because we'd been through every scenario. We'd done the show 1,000 times. Everything had gone wrong 10 times. And it got to the point where Kate would go, will it ever be perfect for you? Because I was complaining about like every little detail. I went, oh, I'm not enjoying it. And I kind of like, when I started to go, okay, enjoy the process. Like enjoy people revealing to you why they love the songs. That's when I was all in, and the show just, it opened up. I mean, it's that connection. Once I was able to go, oh, it's not that hard. You just have to know the songs, and we know the songs. I mean, what can go? I mean, and we've messed up under 10 times in 15 years, but we still messed up. And the crowd has never once, and it's happened, like we were headlining in Las Vegas, the biggest moment to ever happen, and we tanked the song, and the crowd was like, yeah! Once you're doing that, you know you love it enough. You know that people see you loving it enough that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens.
Well, and then speaking of what they don't see is, so the set list is set, right? And then the woman behind the curtain is sitting off on the side of the stage, and you've got, I mean, because this show's got visuals that go with the song.
Right, we've designed that. That's all us.
In alphabetical order, Kate, and then you just kind of throw. How do you you
no,
know?
I should actually
That's a good idea.
That would be a lot easier. No,
We write that down. Hold on.
It's not organized at all on my part. They just pull out a song. So we used to set the set list. We'd do it before each act, so we knew what was coming up. And then I could kind of, when Billy's doing his monologues or talking to the audience, I can match a video to the song. But
it became too easy.
We got bored of that.
It became way too easy.
So then we just started throwing requests in a basket and pulling them out live on stage. And all I have is like Mad Mapper, if anyone uses it. It's a video program. It's great.
We don't know how to use it, but we still do.
It has a picture of the video. And so I just match the feeling of the song to the video. It doesn't make any sense. I get half the videos late.
It's juggling. That's all it is. And then on top of that, really the only trick that we use, we have our teleprompter. That's where we have all of the lyrics, because we can't memorize every Beatles song, every lyric, every chord change. So she's also bringing up those lyrics for us, that if she's late, she gets the stink eye from me, because the whole show runs from me being able to read the teleprompter. So
it's not organized at all.
It's kept us together.
We've just enough times that I know where he's going.
Well, look at me. The two of you, you're still together. It's obviously working, right? At least most of the time.
Well, we make it work.
That I've always liked about the show, because for me, the tribute stuff is not what the show looks like. It's what it sounds like. And you guys, did you ever mess with wigs and attitudes and all, or did you just not ever?
No, because with my brothers and I, it wasn't like that. I mean, taking the dad stuff out of it, I mean, we're like we've been in fist fights over the Beatles. We're passionate about it. You can see the Paul McCartney poster in my house over my shoulder. My daughter's Cartney. My brother Matthew's son is Lennon, and my brother Ryan's son is Harrison. We're not messing around.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I sang most of the Paul stuff, but I couldn't play bass, and I couldn't play it left-handed. And I like going to see Beatle tribute shows. I would pick out the one thing, and it would ruin it.
Right.
I'm just that snobby about it. And so I thought, well, if we take that part out, and I can just say, do you love them as much as I do? Because I love them so much that I made a show that I have to know all their songs, and I have to appreciate why you like it, and then try to tell you why I like it, and then try to make everybody understand why we all like it. And that's the difference. I mean, that's the heart. And that comes from our dad. I mean, he loved this music, you know, and by proxy, here we are, and my kids are the same way. And I mean, you see it, their music, it's, for being about drugs and love and girls, it's pretty wholesome, feel-good music. So,
I didn't expect to ask this question, and I apologize if I catch you off guard. But Kate, do you feel like you know Billy's dad after all this time?
I do, actually. Yeah. I wish that I got to meet him, because I think that him and my dad would be great friends.
My brothers and I talk about all that. I mean, that's what's cool about her dad. It's like, This is a guy my dad would be totally down with. And that's huge. Mm-hmm. Kate did ask me the other day, we were painting our kitchen. So, you know, there's thought you talk about breaking up when you're painting your kitchen. And you ever date anybody that doesn't like the Beatles? And I was like, no way. I mean, that's like, if I have to explain to you why my daughter is named Courtney, we're out.
Yeah, exactly. So we've gone from Rave On to Yesterday and Today, but there are other shows in the inventory. Now, let's talk about those a little bit.
Well, we had a third show that was floating around called Rock Legends, and that show, another shout out to Waterbury. We were able to workshop that there. But we were able to workshop it in weird ways. Like, I mean, I'm being honest. We're at the point in my career where I don't have to fudge numbers. I mean, we were doing matinees on Wednesdays sometimes for like 10 to 15 people. But you learn a lot about yourself as a performer. So, like spending summers doing 9 shows a week that aren't well attended, you get to be pretty good. But that show just never. The idea was, here are 10 artists, pick 4. And we'll do those 4 artists as the show. And not a great idea, but it was, you know, I was just trying to recreate that Yesterday and Today idea. But that show morphed into what is now our symphony show, morphed into what is our cruise ship show.
Pop Rock Orchestra.
Pop Rock Orchestra is like that show on a grand scale with strings and horns. And it really became the template for how I perform when I'm performing as Billy, if that makes sense. When there's no, Dad's a little teary-eyed that you mentioned. Hey, Earl.
Hi, Dad.
So yeah, there's that, and that was the template for all the other shows. And really, our newest one is
there it is.
There it is Tara Vaughn's show. She Rocks. I was more behind the scenes on that show, and that was one of my favorite things to be able to do. So.
Well, you know, what would be, whoops, that's not the one I want. Hold on. See, this is what happens when you engineer your own show. There you go. You know, this is the era of 200 seats, and math is not my friend. And, you know, we've done our work before, and it's time for you to come back, and it would be great, but geez, there's only 200 seats, and I love Yesterday and Today, but we've never done Rave On. And it's, you know, if we could just get, like, you come in and do like Yesterday and Today one night, and then turn it around and do Rave On the next night, that would be like an awesome weekend, wouldn't it?
I mentioned, I mean, I played to 15 people before, so I can play to 200, no problem.
I think one of my favorite presenters of all time once told me, "Oh, I can sell 200 tickets to anything."
Who said that?
I think that was you.
It's an Italian guy that loves spaghetti.
I did not expect to get the test. So this leads us to the big announcement that we did that we were going to sneak in tonight, and that is thank you to you guys. First of all, we are able to have a classic rock weekend at the Grand in November. Yesterday and Today will be at the Grand Oshkosh for its socially distanced show on Friday, November the 20th at 7:00 p.m. And on the Saturday, November 21st, through the magic of transformation, we will be doing Rave On, the Buddy Holly Experience. So That's going to be great fun. I'm so glad you're going to do it. First of all, because
We want to see.
if we're going to do performances, they need to be little mini celebrations, right? Here we are, and we're together, and thank goodness. And those shows are both celebrations, in kind of different ways. So thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're gonna have a fun time. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons. You don't have to get on a plane, which is great, right?
You're in our range for sure.
Yep. And so it's going to allow for that to happen, and people will be able to get those tickets in the next couple of weeks. We've announced it now 30 seconds ago. We'll get it up on the website.
It'll be sold out, you guys.
Soon. And actually, I got a few other things, Billy, to talk to your agent about. Regarding maybe a VIP socially distanced experience and some other things that we're cooking along the way.
We have stuff to talk to you about too. I recorded an album in the garage during the quarantine. You'll dig it. It'll be
yeah. Ooh. Okay. Don't forget that. You just gave me an idea. You just gave me an idea. So so that's where we're going to go with that. But I'm going to take another quick break, and then I want to talk just a little bit more about what's going on with you. Again, your questions are welcome. Your comments are welcome. I just announced that yesterday and today and Rayvon are coming to the Grand in November, and no one yet has put a woohoo in the comments. So, I'll be on the lookout for that because I'm from Canada. Yeah. So but first, I want to talk about the second show that's going to happen. It fell into the same category as you guys in that it was an act that can travel. It's an act that I can make work with 200 seats, and it would be fun and a good time for the people who showed up. Ironically, for many of those acts, including you guys, they're old friends. They're people I know that's going to happen. These are new friends. These folks I became aware of through our online work when we've been doing the Grand at Home on the Saturdays or performance dates. And over the course of time, I discovered that they were able to travel. They were able to come to Oshkosh. And on October the 3rd, we will be presenting the folks who follow me right now, Meet Sunday and Mr. Gessel.
I love my baby better than a brand new sweater. I love my baby, he kisses me warm at night. Yes, I love my baby the most, he makes me breaks the toast. I love my baby, he makes me feel alright. Oh, when I'm feeling blue, oh, he knows just what to do. I love my baby, hold him very tight. Cause I love my baby better than the nice warm weather. I love my baby forever and a night. Yes, I love my baby forever and a night. Oh, I love my baby forever and a night.
That is Sunday. That'll be a lot of fun too. We're gonna have a fun fall. Our little tiny groups of people together.
I like it.
When I come out for a curtain speech at the start of a show, there's usually someone in the audience who gives out a little whoop, or starts the clapping, the polite whatever. And I'll look that way and I'll say, "Hi, Mom," because that's what they do, right? So there's my first woohoo.
Yes.
And this was wonderful. Thank you, Audrey. And that's going to be great. This is that's Debbie again. But this is a great question. Will you have them with you?
We are not selling in person.
That's right. So we
have a wonderful merch store at billymcguigan.com.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should have put that out.
That's right. And that the album will be coming out in the fall. We have no timeline because it's a quarantine album, so it'll come out when it's finished. So we're mixing it now, which I didn't know was going to be so much fun. I thought it was going to take me a week, but it's taking a lot longer.
Yeah,
it's great. Those 16 original songs, a full hour of brand new music.
Oh, that's great.
Came out of left field.
And you hit on something, another way that the everything's changing is meet and greets won't be happening for our shows in the fall. The intermissions won't be happening. The programs are going to be, what's that little ink blot thing that you do, the QR code, and you can pull it up on your phone and or up on the monitors. And it's just changing the way it is. So good for you to have the online store. And we'll make sure, obviously, the people know what they need to do for that along the way.
We were going to try to sell something. What was she going to say? Let's see
Well, I was just going to say that the most special thing about Billy's album is that I got to hear it firsthand, first of all, but he played every instrument, every voice you hear, and there's about 20 different voices, is all him. It's real fun.
Which makes it a real quarantine.
You'll like it because she got everything. Still, yeah.
Kate, what's the one song that people request for yesterday and today out of the Beatles library that you, as the person who has to watch them succeed or fail miserably or work their way through it, that when you see it, there you go, the little voice on one shoulder goes, uh-oh, and the other one goes, hee. That's a good one.
It's Julia. Only because we failed a couple times at it.
That's a hard one.
What is it off of? I don't know.
It's off the White Album.
I don't know if
it's a really tough one.
It is just like acoustic guitar and this like really haunting melody.
That is one of the songs that we fumble.
We have failed a couple times, so now when it comes up, we're all a little nervous.
The last time we played it, awesome. We did a new format. I don't know if we did it the last time we were there. There was a part in the show. We're doing the acoustic, and we said we can request any song from their catalog as long as you have a good reason. Were we doing that the last time we were with you? It was a new wrinkle to the show.
No, no, you had I think there were a couple you were not going to do.
Yeah, we hadn't quite got. So we started to get it down, and like there were 5 songs we'd never played. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, Within You, Without You, The Inner Light. Those songs all got requested within the first week, and it was like, well, here we go. But we hit it in an acoustic section. That's how but that's how we learn the song. So there's no failure.
We keep talking about the places you've played in the area that we've worked together on, and for folks who are watching and trying to put that together, obviously you played the Grand. That was the first place you played, and I think the arena came second, right? You played the Menominee Nation Arena.
That was awesome. That was a great show. That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun. And then we had that fun gig up in De Pere for the Cassandra Voss Scholarship Fund.
That was a life changer. That really was. That was, wow. We were all really affected in a positive way by that experience. It was pretty amazing. And that was really in a weird time for us because I think we hadn't had a day off in like 3 weeks, and we were bouncing. We came up there, and then we're driving to Texas the next day. So, it was in the middle of this bender of a tour that we were on. It was like, oh, come on. And man, it was top notch. We loved that so much.
That was a good concert. They've all been good, but that was special.
So what you're talking about, that was a turning point for us as a company. Something happened there for us, and we didn't play to an empty seat until COVID came.
My personal favorite, though, is the wallpapered bathrooms at the Grand.
Downstairs, by the way. Only the downstairs bathrooms are wallpapered, but yes.
Oh, that's the only ones I visited, and they are.
She made me go see those. She's like, you have to see those. After the show, I'm like, I have to see what?
Listen, those people who did that original restoration, I wasn't there for that, but they didn't mess around.
No, it's nice.
They did not mess around.
I did my bathroom downstairs to match one of yours. In fact,
she did.
We have it's interesting. There'll be some new bells and whistles at the Grand when you come back. Things that weren't there before, and we'll have a good time. That'll be and finally the Buddy Holly experience. I haven't yet done it, so it's about time.
I love all shows equally, but Rave-On was the first one I saw. And
it was.
It's my favorite.
The first
it.
time she saw me do that show was at our very first showcase in Kansas City in 2007 or 8, whenever Bo and Eric put us out there, and she cussed, and she didn't cuss then.
I couldn't believe what I was
She
saying.
said it was effing amazing, and I went, Kate, you cussed. Debbie, she cussed.
It's really,
it's fun.
great.
It's a fun. I mean, the music is great. It's not me. I mean, that's, I think, maybe what people like about that show. It's not about me. It's about Buddy's music and how freaking great it is. I mean, the fact that people can still play it now, 60 years past its release, is pretty awesome. The effect is still solid wherever we play it.
Yeah.
Joe.
Back to you.
Joe.
See, I told you I would do that. I told you I would do that.
You hit the mute button, didn't you?
Down there. Now the question's gone. When Kate and I were talking about this, and we were talking about a whole different thing at one point, and then we got around to this, and you said, "Gee, I think we could." My leading question was, "Are the personnel the same?" And your answer was mostly, or something like that. And then I thought maybe we could make it a double gig. So now, with all of that said, how much did I mess you guys up by asking for both shows?
Oh, not at all. People do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of what we do. I mean, what'll happen is Jay, our lead guitar player in Yesterday and Today, will become our sound engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And Max, who's my guitar tech for Yesterday and Today, will switch into the lead guitar spot. I mean, that's the cool thing about what we do. We can all, like I said, we're scrappy. I mean, we're built for situations like this, unfortunately, because we can do anything at any time. If you give us a mic, we had a sound guy, Mike Duran, if you're out there, this is for you. He said, all I need is a bullhorn and an audience, and we got a show. I mean, that really needs to be the attitude, and that's
brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put on a show whether it's here or I'm sweating already. If I'm sweating, that means a show is happening. So we can make it happen.
What's, Billy, your favorite Yesterday and Today song, and why?
Oh. Wow.
The one that hits me the hardest, I think, is This Boy. When my brothers and I do that song, I mean, you saw it. I think one of my favorite things, we haven't talked about this, media sometimes becomes one of the hardest things you have to do as a performer, because that cuts into your nap time, right? And so we did that thing in Green Bay, that little radio. Do you remember? I remember that. It was like, there was a radio guy that was like, hey, do this song. And it was just, that was an awesome one. But I mean, those moments happen with my brothers and we were little kids all the time, because our dad would quiz us with these. So This Boy is one that never came easy to us. We're not trained kids. We were dirt poor kids that we'd listen to the record and go, who's doing that? Is that Paul? I don't know. And then we'd fight. And then it'd be like, okay, is that, so when we sing that song, my dad's tutelage is all over that. I can just hear him and pointing to us and saying, you do this part, Billy, and you do that, Matthew and Ryan. And when I look over there and they're these adult professionals who, kicking and screaming, came in to do this show with me. And now when we do it, it's so easy and effortless. And we've literally spent our entire lives, sorry, I'm getting choked up, working for moments like that. That's the passion that we have. So I love that one. Personally, I mean, like Hey Jude, we do a podcast, Jay and I, talking about Beatles songs. And most of my band gets tired of playing Hey Jude because it's the same 3 chords. The reaction is always tremendous and awesome. You get spoiled. But for me, I look forward to playing that song every time, because that's where you see, even if you're a casual Beatles fan or the person that came to our show that doesn't like the Beatles, that's who we do the show for, by the way. We want to show those people why we love that music. Everybody's singing Na, 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 Hey Jude.
Right.
I live for that moment when we're all together hugging and singing something we've known. And we all love for a different reason. We all don't love the Beatles music for the same reason. That's what we found out, and that's what I love and live for.
All right. Now comes the curveball. Kate, What's your favorite song in Yesterday and Today, and why?
I was hoping you'd forget that I was here.
Yes, Kate.
And wouldn't ask me that question.
Yes, Kate.
I think my favorite song overall is Something. Just because I think it's really beautiful. But my favorite song that these guys do is any early Beatles song, but particularly Mr. Moonlight. Just because we don't do it very often, and then when we do, you get to see the crowd, and like the real Beatle fans are like, "Oh my God!" And I like that.
And Joe, that's because of our dad. I mean, that was one of our dad's favorite. And I can, as soon as she said Mr. Moonlight, I can see the look on my dad's face, with a beer in his hand, going, Mr. Moonlight. Be like, sing it, boys. And my brothers, who obviously weren't drinking, were little kids going, you came to me one summer night. I mean, that. We love that music. That's
I like the shock. Choice. I like the shock value when we make like that for the audience.
The songs that people that nobody plays, those are the ones we live for. Like I Am the Walrus and Day in the Life, just to see people, because those we played so many times, Joe, that they're not that hard to us. I mean, that not to be cocky, but I mean, we played them 100 times. So it's like, oh, look at, we're doing Walrus.
Oh, good, yay!
Moonlight, though, that's when the real Beatle fans are like,
and that's when you know you've got a good crowd too.
Big time.
If that makes it in the show.
I always enjoy in watching the show what the reaction to the request. If someone has gone deep in their request, it's appreciated as well as played. So. Billy, what would you? I get caught up in this because I got a lot of dad genes in me, and it's probably why this.
Me too.
Yeah, why this story hits me, and never ends for me. And I'm just the Italian guy. You're the Italian guy out front, out east, compared to where you are. What do you think your dad would be most proud of? The fact that you have the appreciation for the music, or would there be a little dad in him going, I gave these guys a career?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be that, Joe. It would have to be just to know. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, we grew up really poor, right? And so when your parent dies early, our dad died at age 42. Like the insurance money that you get when you're poor is like, oh my God, that's the most amount of money I've ever seen. And that money I think was probably gone in 6 months, right? And I remember thinking at the time, like, we could have taken that money and gone to college. We could have, you know what I mean? But we had bills to pay, whatever. But I think that if he could see where we came from, because obviously he knows he was raising 4 kids on $13,000 a year, being in the military, just to know that we have a legacy now. We're here in Omaha. This show is next to A Christmas Carol, which has like a 30+ year legacy. Yesterday and Today is the second most popular show in the history of Omaha theater. And that's not the only place. There are other theaters where it's the most successful show they've had. And that's not because of me, that's because of him, And man, I mean, what a legacy. That's way better than any money he could have given us, any pats on the back, or years even. And I hate to say that because losing him was the hardest thing, but what he gave us has gotten us through this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get through this because of what he gave us. And that, man.
That is huge. We should all be so lucky as a dad. Here's hoping.
But Joe, and again, there was no planning.
Right.
We were poor. We didn't have any money, and he had a guitar. And he loved the Beatles as much as he loved us, and not in a bad way, but he was that dude. And so when he gathered the kids around and like, hey, your mom left, whatever, this is Please Please Me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How you sing this boy. And that's how we got through everything, with that guitar and those songs. So that's a deep level, but I mean, that's what COVID did.
That's great though. That's the story of life, and it works.
Why
I asked the question.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we don't, the thing about that show that I love is that it's real honest. Like there is no trick to it. There's no hook to it. The hook is these three dudes and that band love that music so much that they made a show that your kids can enjoy and your parents can enjoy and you can enjoy. And man, it's the one that if Paul McCartney came to, he wouldn't sue me.
That's right.
Right? Yeah,
And by gosh, they're going to be able to enjoy it in Oshkosh too, because yesterday and today will be in Oshkosh on Friday, November the 20th, 7:00, and the following day, Rave On Buddy Holly Experience.
I don't look like that.
And it's going to be a great time. Wait, we got a comment. I want to make sure I get that in there. So there you go. There you go. It's, even there we go. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys. You are hitting the road with the drive-in show, though, right?
Tomorrow.
First road gig since
March.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th of March. Yep. Yeah. We're going to have 6 months between the closing and the reopening for us. And we're looking forward to it, though. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in November. In the meantime, stay healthy. Billy McGuigan, Kate Whitecotton, thanks for being with us. You have been watching, what the heck is this called again? Cocktail Hour, because I didn't have one. Right? So I appreciate you taking the time tonight. Stay healthy. And folks here who are watching, keep an eye out. We'll be going on sale just as soon as we get things worked out and put together. And you'll hear about it here at Grand. And in the meantime, you have a very pleasant weekend. I want to remind you that tomorrow night, we do have a performance online. We're going to have Ben Wagner joining us from Milwaukee live with his show, and we'll go from there. Folks, be safe, be healthy, and we will see you soon.
Cheers, friends.